Good morning. I'm going to show you how to install the add-on and then we'll explain briefly what it's about. So, edit, preferences, go to install, click on the follow camera.zip, click install. It will come up like this. You just need to click on the box which enables it, which brings it up here. So, brief introduction. What is it? Follow me. And it's basically developed around having the need to have a camera in a scene so we can render things, and from there, rather than having a stationary camera, I developed my own little system to be able to have objects on a path and a camera on a path, have a camera follow a path, but be able to animate the camera as well as other things. So it does lots of things with a click of a button and you don't need to think about it, it just does it. Over here is what it will look like when you install it. There might be lots of buttons, but they all kind of work in a certain way, which I'm sure the majority of you will grasp straight away. If you don't want it on this, it's under Tool. So as you click on Tool, it comes up. You can have it just here. So if you want to close that down with the N button, you can do. You don't have to have it in your scene. That's entirely up to you. So I developed it so I could animate things quickly, and it certainly works for me. Hello. So this is my default scene. We're going to create a camera and empties. So what do we have here? We actually have an empty in the middle, which is up here. We'll see it says to follow. That's actually the empty, and if we click on it and move it around, you will see that the camera has already parented it to it and it will track wherever that goes. We've got an empty which is connected to the camera, and wherever that goes, the camera goes. And as you will see, the camera is still looking at that empty. And the camera is pointing down. Everything has been reset. So this is the start of creating your scene. So we need paths, first of all, to assign them to. So the first one, add circle path. Now, when we click on curve, there's lots of different ones we can use to create various paths, but for the simplicity of getting it up and running, and a lot of people might just want a simple turnaround camera but on a path, this is the reason why I've added this. So we click add circle path, and that basically keeps it in, and it's already the active object. If you wish to make it bigger, this is now opened up, and if you left click and drag down, it will do them all. And if you slide left and right, we can make whatever size we want. You can then apply the location rotation on its own, or apply the scale if you wish. Always apply the scale. It can create all kinds of problems. If you know anything about Blender, that is one of the major issues, not applying your scale. If you just click apply scale, it will reset it for you. However, if you want to delete that and go back just to add circle, if you click the S for scale, you can just use your mouse to drag it anyway. And as you can see in the bottom right, it's adjusting the scale. You still need to apply the scale and it'll go back to 1. So we've got a path. So what do we do with that path? Well, let's say we want another path. We can again click on the add circle, and we've got another path. So I'm going to leave it at that. So we've got 2 paths. So what do we do with that? So let's suggest we click on the first path and highlight it, and we go to add follow, which is the circle, to the active path. We click on that, and now that has gone on there. As you can see now, that is now on that path. So what can we do with that? We can animate that follow path, and this is what I would say is the basic method. So we're going to say animate on that path. Now if we press the space bar, we will see that that follow will make one 360-degree turn in the time that it gets to the end, which is 250 frames. And as you saw, it eased in and eased out, so it slows down. That is the most basic. As you will see, that no matter where that goes, the camera follows. And if you want to see what the camera is seeing, let's just drag that out. So if we create another scene, we will click on the camera view, and this is what the camera will see. Not great at the moment because it's just an empty, but by pressing play, you can, what you would see in this little window, let's get rid of these so we can see better. That's what we can see. So basically now we have an empty moving around a path that could be anything whatsoever, and if we wanted to rotate that path, it will still go, and as you can see on the camera view, wherever we move this, you can see, and that's what would come out in your render. What can we then do from here? So what we've done is basically created the objects. We've applied it the object that's going to be followed onto the path, which is here. We've then animated that path. However, what if we wanted it to go the other way? That's simple. Make sure that the circle is, or that particular path is highlighted, and just click reverse. As you can see, now that object will go in the opposite direction. And as simple as that, and you can click it again. So, however, what if we want it to be on the other path? That's no problem. Just click the next one and put add follow to the active path. Now that's the active path. So it now jumps to the next one. No problem at all, straightforward. So what else can we do? Well, what if we wanted the camera to animate as well? Well, if we click on that first path and we come further down to where it says add camera empty, which is the box, to the active path, and we click on that. And now we've got the camera is now on there, and we just need to animate it. So animate the camera empty on the path. So now they will both move, and as you can see, it's still tracking this one. Well, what else could we do with that? Again, if we wanted to remove either of those things and let's say swap them around. Now we don't need to delete them, but that option is there. You could actually just highlight the track and it will instantly jump to it. So we've got the follow sphere on the outside. Let's say we want it on the inside. So leave the inside highlighted, go to add follow to active path, and that will jump. It will always go to the same place. That will cause you a problem, but that's why we have the advanced mode, which we'll get to very shortly. So let's say we want to swap this around and have the camera on the outside. Select the outside, go to add camera to the outside. So now we've got them here. So you've swapped them around. And again, there's various things we can do with that. So as you can see on here, you could suggest it's a little bit close. So we've got the focal length of the camera, and just by sliding left and right, we can adjust how close the camera is, and that can be animated at a later stage, which we can discuss later. If you look at the camera here, you will see that the camera focal length changes, and you can reset it to a default, which is 50. Although we've got these running together, if you wanted to adjust various things, now we want to keep the camera path, we're quite happy with that. If you wanted to scale it up because you thought, oh, it's a little bit too close, all you do is press the S on that path and we'll just scale it up. The scale's changed, so we'll apply the scale, and we don't want it to be straight looking at the camera, as you can see here. Let's say we want it to be above. Well, all you do is select the camera, press the G key, press Z for the Z axis, and you can move it up. left click, and now you'll see it's from above. The dashed line says that it's still parented to this, so the empty will still move on that path. However, when we do it, as you can see, it's now looking from above. And like we've briefly mentioned, that can be animated at a later stage. So if you wanted the camera to do various things, it's going around. So it's as if we've created this very basic animation, which we then can add to and make more complex should we see fit. Again, so we've created this very simple animation. Bit boring because empties don't show up in renders. So what would we use this for? So on the most simple level, it may just be a turnaround camera that you can manipulate. So let's suggest that we'll bring in a monkey, and we will put it in the middle, as all objects will. Now, if we do absolutely nothing now and press play, you will see the camera view is just an absolutely basic turnaround camera that will look at the object that you've put in the middle. Okay. What if we wished to do, or as we've always said, we can change the view focal length. We can even parent this to the empty, so it'll go on that animated path. So that animation is happening already. If we highlight the monkey head or whatever object you're using and go to parent, as you will see, it's now going to follow that path. And because the outer circle is obviously larger, it has to move quicker to do the 360-degree turn. If you wanted to, we can have the object face the camera. So although it's going round and round, it's still facing the camera. And you can turn that off whenever you wish, and it will spin again. Hello again. So I've added a material to the monkey head just so you can see it in the rendered view, otherwise we can't see the lighting. So what we can do is we can add what we call a fill-in light to help bring out the details in an object that we're looking at. So we click this on, and as you can see now we have a lighting object that's pointing towards, and always will point towards, the object that's parented to the sphere. So if we go down here, because it's now highlighted, we have the options to alter the power, the soft size, spot size and blend. So by altering these, we can see how the lighting will affect the object itself. So let's say we go up to 10 watts. You can see now the lights have come on, and we can alter it. So if we take the soft off and then bring it up, as you can see, it alters the lighting. The spot size, we take it right down to a pin, and then you can bring it up, and you can see on the right there that it's changing. So you can have it just on the actual item itself or on the surrounding things. You can go crazy and basically blow out so it's way too bright, and you can obviously adjust that. And then if you decide no, just remove the whole thing. So this wasn't my original use for this project, it was so that I could follow an object moving on the same path. This is where we move into what we would call the, or I would call the advanced settings. Not that it's particularly overly complicated, but it slightly changes things. So we will use the second track. We will highlight the second track so that we can put the camera on the same path as the follow. So now, as you can see, the object isn't moving, but the camera is. So if we were using something like the example that I'll show you later, which is my original use, was to follow the dominoes. Obviously the dominoes is running away from you and we wanted to follow it. So you could argue you could use this in a car chase scene or something of that nature. So if we animate the follow as well, they're going to be in the same place and you can't see anything at all. But don't worry, we can soon fix that. So how do we do that? That is to go into the next stage. So we have to go into the constraints themselves. So basically the way this works is we've got a fixed position and we need to change that. So for the camera, we're going to take off the fixed position and you click animate. You then go into the to follow, take off the fixed position and click animate. Now at the moment they will now both be on the same path, both going at a very similar speed. And we'll take off that so we can now see what's happening. Solid. So as you can see, not much use like that. So how do we fix that? Well, we need to create an offset between them both. So you click on the empty for the camera or the other one, vice versa, and we go into the offset. If we start moving this, as you can see now, we're now making a distance between them both. If I now press play, as you can see, it is now chasing the object, which was my original idea, and that's what I needed it to do. I needed the camera to be able to chase it and follow it. So that's one part of it. If you want the item to follow the curve, if it was going up and down, left and right, you can actually have your object that will tilt with the curve, and all you do is you click follow curve. Depending on what it is, you will see that it will change, and all you do is you click in on the animate path. Okay, so what if you decide they're moving far too quickly? Well, what you can do here under the advanced part is you click on the path that they're on, you go to the data and go under path animation. Here you're telling it how many frames it has to travel to go all the way around 360 degrees. So if we press play now and we change this to a much lower number, look how fast that's moving. That's crazy. Great for effects depending on what you want, or you can slow them right down. Again, it's a little bit close now, so we can do one of two things, or both. Change the focal length of the camera, or go into the constraints and make the offset different. Then press play. Again, the camera is always focused on our object, as you can see here, but there is an offset. And what you can do, if you felt the need, if you wanted one to move faster than the other, you simply duplicate the path it'll have two names, and you would add one to one path, leave that one on the original path, and you would go to your data for the path and you would change the frames. So technically it would look like they were on the same path, but one takes more frames to make the same, to travel the same distance in effect, and that therefore one would be moving faster than the other one. So you could do that. If you decided you wanted to go back to basic settings, all you do is highlight the paths, go back to here, and we're going to add the follow to the active path, animate, click on this one, and we'll go add camera to that path, animate, alternatively you click on both of them, go into your constraints, and you just put fixed position, and they are now back both in basic mode. So you could select this one for the camera, and they're now back in basic mode where they're doing their 360 with the ease in and ease out. Hello again. So anybody that's watching these videos were created pretty much as I'm coming towards the end of all of the beta testing. So if you see any slight changes, it's because basically I found something that I wasn't happy with and I've had to change. All for the good of everybody. But anyway, so what I'm going to show you now, it's a real life example that I come across whilst I was testing. And I'm not quite sure why it does it, but it's really weird. But anyway, here we go. So we create a normal standard path as we've been doing all along, and it's not an issue. And we can click on the add camera, and the camera goes to that path, and we can then animate the path, and that works fine. However, if we then create a curve and use one of these Archimedean type curves, which you would think are pretty much the same unless I'm mistaken. However, we will make some fancy spiral type path. Now we can, that is no different to this, you would expect. As you can see, we got a path symbol and a path symbol. You would think pretty much the same. So we click on this one and we will add our follower to it, and we will animate, and we will click on this one for our camera, and we will animate the camera. So this is kind of what we would expect. If I click on this path for the camera and click reverse, it reverses, and as you can see, no problem. However, this is where the issue I found was. So you click on this path for this one and you click reverse, so it starts at the bottom at the beginning and it goes to the top as it goes through, and you click on reverse and nothing happens. Starts at the bottom. So occasionally this reverse doesn't work. So I've created a little button because I believe I found a solution, so that you people don't have to worry about it. So you click on the path, click on convert non-standard path, and then it will reset it, then rejoin that path, and now click reverse and it works. And nothing really has changed, but it now works. So just to reiterate that, if you create some funky splined path like this and you want to reverse the direction of the motion and it doesn't work, all you do, highlight the path, click on convert non-standard path, and then it will reset the path. In fact, let's do it again so we can just go over that again. So we're going to create a curve, spiral, Archimedean, and it's there. Now you may find that it works fine this time. Let's see, shall we? So add follow, and it goes on. It's not reversing, so you just stop it, make sure it's highlighted, convert, it will reset it, then add follow. It's now gone back on. So let's just convert. So starting off at the bottom, we click reverse and it's now starting at the top. So that is a solution, whether it's a Blender glitch or something that I have done and not seen, I don't know. However, they are both paths, both identical, just a different shape, and that's what we can come up with. But that is the solution for that. Hi, so let's do a very quick example of linking these to this spiral. So we're going to click on that, click on the follow path, and we're going to parent the follow object. So click on that, click on parent. Now the monkey head will obviously travel that path. And we can click on reverse the actual path, so it's going up now. And we can add the fill-in light. Add some light to our monkey. So we can now see that. Hi, so this was my original project, which is the reason why I developed it in the first place, and it's part of a much bigger project, but literally the plan was to have a set of dominoes in my logo that would spill out. This has taken me quite a while to get that sorted out so that they didn't disform and various other things, which I'll do potentially another script for, so everybody else can do the same thing. But what I wanted is for the camera to follow it. So the way I would go about this now using the new add-on would be to get this was the original path. So what we would do is we would go into the tool, we would say create the empties, which we've got here. We will highlight the path and add the follow to it, and we will also animate it. We will then add the camera to it and animate it, and now as you can see, the camera and the empty is on the path, and technically it would record it, but as you can see, the camera and empty get faster and faster, so it's not quite in line with it. There are ways to change that, but that's a different thing. So the way around this would be to go into the advanced mode. So we'll go into those two constraints. So we've got the for camera. We'll take the fixed off and animate the path. We will go into the to follow, take the fixed off, animate the path. So what will happen now is they'll both go at the same place, same speed. So these will both need adjusting. So they're both together, they're both following the path. So if we go back to the beginning of the animation, we can now turn off the path so we don't see it. Okay, so what we need to do now is to go to the to follow, and we'll go back to the beginning so we can see where we're up to, and we will bring that back a little bit to about there. We will then go into the for camera and we'll bring that back behind there. Now potentially these will still go too fast, so we need to slow them down on the actual path. So we will click on here, we will click on the camera. Okay, so now it's working, but what's happening is the camera is actually hitting all of the dominoes. So as you can see here now, where the camera is, it's just above. So what we need to do is we can click on the actual camera itself, and we're going to do what we did before. We're going to grab it, we'll go into the Z and just bring the camera up just a touch. And now let's see where we're up to. So now we can see the dominoes. Potentially we're a bit close, so we'll go into the focal length here and we'll back it off a little bit. Okay, now if you see here, the camera is just above where it's falling, and it's a little bit quick, so we need to slow it down. So what we do is we go into the actual path itself. So we need to find the path for here. It's the A path, and click on the data for the A path, and we go into path animation, and we need to slow it down just a little bit. So we're saying we need to slow it down, we need more frames. So let's say we'll go for 250, say, go back to the beginning, and let's see how we go on now. That's not too bad, but what we could do with doing is clicking on the to follow and the offset. If we make the offset a little bit closer to where the action's happening, and then we rewind that. And that is much better. Okay, so now we will turn off the path again, go back to the beginning, and it's all down to your own technical directing, I will call it, where you decide how far back you want the camera, whether you want it out to the side, which you could do. We could literally, because the camera's path is following the path we've already chosen, but there's nothing to stop us moving the camera, say, out to the side. So we can do it from there. So the camera's there, it's still going to track on here, it's still going to always look here where the action's happening. So let's go back. So let's have a look here. So now we can see the dominoes falling. And you can animate these to your heart's consent to basically go into great depth. You can change, so if you go into the camera here, these little dots, you can change the depth of field. So if you look here, we could animate that so it could go far away, close up, just by clicking the dot on the timeline. Change the depth of field so it can go out of blurred, add motion blur, all of this, and it's all down to the paths that we've already set up and how quickly it was done. So yeah, that's pretty much it.